The feed began during a quiet night. Across dozens of neutral worlds, people were sleeping. Ships drifted through calm space. No alarms, no warnings. Just a sudden flash on screens, an emergency broadcast that wasn't from any official channel. It flickered, cracked with static, then cleared. A little human girl no older than 7 sat alone in a cold metal cage. Her arms were covered in bruises. Her eyes were swollen, crying, terrified. Her voice was small, but strong. "Please," she whispered, clutching the bars. "Please. They hurt everyone. Don't let them take me too." The background was dim. Screams echoed faintly. Strange symbols on the walls marked the place as alien, not human. Behind her, shadows moved slow and cruel. Her voice broke as she cried harder. They said, "I'm next. Please, help." Suddenly, the screen turned blood red. A high-pitched sound rang out. Then, black dot silence. Every viewer, miners, traders, soldiers, was left staring at a dead screen and across human space. Hearts broke. The next morning, the Terran Council gathered in emergency session. Leaders of the core world's military high command and intelligence officers all stood around the circular chamber. Watching the footage again, "This isn't fake," said Admiral Renka, voice tight. "We ran the signal through 6 different layers. The video is real." "And the girl?" asked Chancellor Malik, his face pale. "She was on Radix-3, a neutral colony. One of the fringe worlds under Thalrex control." Gasps spread through the room. The Thalrex Dominion. Ancient, cruel, cold-blooded rulers of over 100 systems. They kept order with fear, slavery, and torture. Everyone knew their methods but this. A human child? How did she get there? Someone asked. "She was likely born there," said Colonel Mason, head of intelligence. "Her parents were contractors. Vanished a year ago. We think they were taken by the local Thalrex governor, Lord Vakel. And now the girl's dead," Malik whispered. Silence hung over the room like a storm. "Are we certain?" someone asked, still hoping. "Yes." Renka pressed a button. A second video played silent footage from Thalrex Noble Security. Stolen, hacked. The girl, bound, screaming. A flash of blue light. Then nothing, gasps. Anger. Some council members looked away. Others clenched their fists. Renka turned to the room. She was tortured and executed as part of a noble house ritual. It was meant to show dominance. Lord Vakel believes humans are vermin with too much pride. The room was shaking now. Not from motion, but rage. "Has the Dominion claimed responsibility?" Malik asked. "They don't have to," Mason replied. "They're proud of it." More silence. Then a voice from the shadows. Calm, cold, final. "No more councils," said Commander Alira Frost. "No more debates. We have the signal origin. We know the house. It's time." "Time for what?" asked Malik. Frost stepped forward. Her black uniform bore no rank. Just a symbol burned into her shoulder. A single white handprint. "They broke the last rule," she said. "You don't hurt children. Not ours. Not anyone's." She dropped a data crystal on the table. "I'm activating Wrath Protocol." Malik's eyes widened. "It hasn't been used in a century." Frost didn't blink. "We used to think diplomacy mattered. We used to believe monsters could be reasoned with. But now, we've seen the truth. They rule through fear." She nodded toward the screen. But fear changes direction fast. 3 days later, deep in uncharted space, something moved. It wasn't on any star map. It didn't ping any radar. But it was big. A ship, but not just a ship. A weapon. A ghost. A myth. The Revenant. Long thought decommissioned. A vessel from Earth's dark past. Silent, stealth-wrapped, faster than light. With weapons not seen since the last galactic war inside, 10 humans moved like shadows. No names, no serial numbers. It's just a mission. They watched the footage again. They didn't speak. They didn't cry. They remembered, back on Radix-3, the Thalrex governor lounged on a golden throne. Lord Vakel was tall, scaled, with eyes like polished obsidian. He laughed as he watched a new slave squirm under an electroprod. Human weakness, he hissed. Soft, loud, full of emotion. They weep for one child. One another noble chuckled beside him. They'll send an envoy, maybe a letter. They always do, Vakel agreed. Then they forget, like cattle. But that night the stars flickered. The sky turned dark, not from weather, but from a shadow moving above the clouds. No alarms. No warnings, just a soft hum, then dash nothing. Next morning, Radix 3's communication towers were silent. Its orbital station had vanished. No debris. No fire. Just gone. A patrol ship sent to investigate reported strange readings, then went offline. Then its emergency beacon appeared in the middle of a Thalrex parade square without the ship, just the beacon. Still humming. Panic spread. Quiet at first. Then louder. Military officers screamed for answers. Ships launched. Scans ran night and day, but nothing showed up. No human fleet, no warships. Just fear. Back at Terran Command, Chancellor Malik stood before a new room of leaders. Why haven't we claimed responsibility? Someone asked. Because we didn't fire a shot, Malik answered. Renka stepped forward. The Revenant is autonomous. Its crew operates off the books. No signals, no records. We gave them the name. They'll do the rest, another officer whispered. And if they go too far? Frost spoke again, from the shadows. They won't go far enough. In Thalrex High Command. Messages flew in from across the stars. Outposts going dark. Ships missing. Noble houses abandoning palaces. Then, a message appeared on every Dominion screen. No sender. No origin. A single sentence. You killed one of ours. The words burned. They couldn't be deleted. Couldn't be traced. Couldn't be stopped. Panic turned to dread. Some called it psychological. Warfare. Some called it magic. Others called it what it was. Human wrath. A week after the girl's death, a Thalrex mining moon stopped responding. A rescue team was sent. They found no survivors. Only words carved into the moon's surface, imperfect. Human script. She was 7. The war hadn't started, but something worse had. A reckoning. Not loud. Not violent. Not yet, but quiet. Icy. Inevitable. Because Earth didn't send diplomats this time, it sent ghosts. And ghosts don't negotiate, they haunt. In the outer rings of Dominion-controlled space, 3 Thalrex scout ships drifted lazily near the edge of the dark. Nebula known as the Gravefold. There was nothing unusual about the mission. No enemies. No reports of pirate activity. Just deep, silent space until something moved. At first, they thought it was an asteroid dark, slow, unparried. But then it turned. Not fast, not sudden, just deliberate. A smooth rotation. No lights. One of the Thalrex commanders, Overseer Krill, narrowed his eyes. That's no rock. He pinged it with active sensors. No response. Then a second scan. Still nothing. Suddenly, all 3 ship systems blinked. The stars vanished. Not because of a power failure, but because something blocked them. A shape. Massive. Blacker than black. Floating silently between them and the starlight, a message blinked on their central displays. You killed one of ours. Then all 3 ships went offline. No explosions. No alarms. Just darkness and silence. The Thalrex Dominion scrambled its mid-range fleets. Word of the missing scouts traveled fast, and High Command feared a new human tactic. Admiral Kurtharn. In his high tower aboard the core spire, their central command station. His cold eyes reviewed the sensor data. Ship class unknown, his aide said nervously. It doesn't match any human warship we've seen. Visual profile? Kurtharn asked. The screen displayed a warped silhouette, tangular, unnatural. It didn't glow like normal ships. It seemed to eat the light around it. It doesn't broadcast, the aide continued. No comes, no ID, just that message. Kurtharn leaned back in his throne. Perhaps the humans finally built. Something with teeth. He smiled. Let them come. Elsewhere, in a hidden Terran command center, buried beneath a dead asteroid, Commander Alira Frost watched the silent footage from the black ship. The Aravianant. It had moved through the gravefold like a ghost. No signals, no trails, no weapons. Deployed, and yet 3 Thalrex. Ship's gone. Frost sipped her tea, expression unreadable. Status. She asked. An officer turned from her console. The crew of the Revenant is running shadow routes. They're choosing symbolic targets. Frost nodded. No military installations? Not yet. Good. Let the fear build. Back inside the Dominion, things were changing. Noble families began pulling their heirs back from fringe worlds. Trade convoys rerouted, slave auctions on minor planets were quietly suspended. For centuries, the Thalrex ruled by fear. They conquered. With flame and blood, empires fell before them, but now, something had changed. They had become afraid, not of fleets, not of guns, but of one black ship, and what it meant in a dusty corner of the Dominion. A rebel cell intercepted a mysterious signal on an ancient channel. It was a replay of the original holovid. It's the little girl in the cage, her voice soft and trembling. Please, they heard everyone. The rebels passed it along. Others did the same. Within hours, the video spread across hundreds of systems, showing Thalrex civilians, mercenaries, and fringe leaders exactly what had been done. And more importantly, why the Revenant had come. Fear turned into quiet shame. Some Thalrex began questioning their own leaders. Back on Radix 3, Lord Vakel sat surrounded by guards, his golden robe fluttering as he barked orders. Deploy drones? Double orbital shields? Find this human ship. His tech priests worked day and night. Scans swept every sector. Nothing, not even radiation trails. The black ship didn't leave a trace. That was when one of the junior officers found it, its faint energy signature hidden beneath the planet's orbit. Too weak to detect at first glance, too precise and moving, the officer opened a cum channel. Lord Vakel. But that was all he said before the entire outpost went dark. No explosion. No debris. No screams. Just gone. Admiral Cortharn slammed a clawed fist onto the control table. This is no warship. This is psychological warfare. They are playing games. A voice crackled through the room. A voice not from any known channel. You think this is a game? Cortharn froze. So did his officers. The voice was human. Cold. Calm. Female Frost's voice. Games end when you kill a child, she said. Then the screen went static. The Dominion scrambled to trace the signal. It had come from inside the station, but the central server core had been sealed from the inside and no one could open it. Elsewhere in space, the Revenant moved again, no faster than a slow drift, no course plotted, and yet every time it stopped. A Thalrex facility vanished, observation post, gone, supply ship, vaporized mid-jump, training camp, reduced to dust. In every case, no alarms were triggered, no weapons detected. Just afterward, a single line carved into metal walls. She was 7. The Galactic Council, not human, called an emergency meeting. Representatives from dozens of alien species stared at the data with unease. The humans have always been protective of their own, said a Zeltari elder. But this is vengeance at a scale we've never seen, he warned us, said a Drevik ambassador. When Earth joined the galactic community, they said they only had one unbreakable rule. Another ambassador nodded. Harm no human child. Hey, they're not fighting a war, someone whispered. They're making a statement. The Dominion tried to respond. Massive fleets deployed along the borders. Trap systems set up. Decoy signals, it didn't matter. The Revenant didn't need to fight. It just kept moving. Everywhere it appeared. Terror followed. Slavers fled. Torturers vanished, and the Dominion's grip on its systems began to crack. But worse than the attacks were the whispers. Some Thalrex claimed they saw human figures walking through locked hallways. No suits. No air. Others said they heard children crying in their dreams only, to wake and find words burned into their walls. You killed one of ours. Admiral. Kurtharn finally called for a parley, a public signal sent to Earth. No tricks, no threats, just one request. We ask to speak. In good faith. In public. The Terran Council refused to answer. But somewhere, the Revenant changed course. The Thalrex patrol cruiser Varkin's Claw drifted into port at Signer 9, one of the Dominion's secure command stations. It was a sight of relief after all. The ship had vanished 2 weeks earlier during a recon mission near the Gravefold. Where the black ship was last seen, its return triggered immediate alarms. No. COMMs. No. Beacon. No life signs. Docking bots latched onto its hull. No damage. No burn marks. No impacts. Just silence. A boarding crew in full armor entered through the main hatch. The halls were dark, cold. No bodies. No power. Nothing but silence. Then, a sound scraping. In the med bay, they found him one crewman, barely breathing. Missing. Skin burned in patterns no one recognized. He didn't scream, he couldn't. He just whispered one thing over and over. They don't come in ships. They come in whispers. Signer 9 locked down immediately. Medical officers rushed the survivor into quarantine. The lead physician, a cybernetic Thalrex, named Dr. Itis, cantoned him quickly. His neural patterns are broken, she muttered. Whatever happened wasn't physical. She pointed at the symbols burned into his skin. They weren't from any known language. They almost looked human, but not like any script in modern use. Worse. His body showed no signs of restraint. He wasn't tortured. He was marked like a message, Admiral. Kurtharn stared through the glass into the medbay. This is all that remains. Of the Varkin's Claw? He asked. Yes, my lord, Dr. Ite replied. All 50 others are gone. No traces, no bodies, just him, Kurtharn growled. Then he will speak. But when they tried to question him, the survivor simply whispered again. They don't come in ships. They tried neural probes. He bled from his ears. They tried deep, memory dives. He screamed until the lights burst. One technician collapsed from a seizure just listening to the playback. When they reviewed the audio logs, the whisper had changed it. Now said, you watched her die. The news spread fast. Across Dominion space, people whispered about the ghost crew, Thalrex patrol, returning empty with one broken soul left behind. Nobles panicked. Some demanded the council retaliate against Earth immediately. But Kurtharn knew better. These are not conventional humans, he told the High Council. There's something else. He pulled up the old files blacklisted during peacetime. Files marked Wrath Protocol. Inside, records of Earth's oldest black ops. Program, assassins, saboteurs, ghosts who didn't exist, created for war, unleashed for revenge. Back on Earth, Commander Illyra Frost stood in the Revenant's shadow as it recharged at a hidden fueling station inside a hollowed moon. Her eyes watched the stars. A crewman approached. We left one alive, he said. Frost nodded. Good. The crewman hesitated. Why? She turned slowly. So they learn. Learn what? Frost stepped closer. Her voice dropped to a whisper. That fear doesn't belong to them anymore. Meanwhile, Dominion intelligence tried to piece together the patterns. The black ship was striking symbolic targets, child labor camps.
Ow.
Genetic test labs, breeding facilities, places that tortured the weak. The message was clear. Earth was erasing. Cruelty. One planet at a time. And then, a terrifying discovery. The burned symbols on the survivor's skin matched carvings found on an abandoned Thalrex slave hub. Destroyed over a decade ago, during a failed uprising, it was a human child facility. The survivors' markings were names. Names of every child killed. There, the implications were horrifying. The humans remembered Signer 9 shut down communications. The moment the medbay lights began flickering, the survivor sat up in his bed. No, sedation worked. He began whispering again, but in a child's voice. The voice from the original holovid. Please, they heard everyone. The feed went dead. Security teams rushed in, but by the time they arrived, The survivor was gone. No blood, no footprints, just one message. Scrawled into the glass with a blackened finger. She was 7. Admiral Kurtharn ordered the entire station evacuated, but it was too late. One by one, officers began reporting phantom sightings, human silhouettes in the dark. Faces half-lit, eyes empty. Weapons didn't fire. AI defenses failed. People began resigning in fear. Some even fled the Dominion entirely. For the first time in centuries, the empire that ruled through terror is being ruled by it. Back in the Revenant's war room, the crew reviewed the Signer 9 data. The silence was almost holy. Then, a young lieutenant asked Frost, "Commander, are we going too far?" Frost stared at the image of the girl in the cage. Her voice echoed again in the silent room. "Please." Psst. They hurt everyone. Frost's face hardened. "No, we haven't gone far enough." The Thalrex High Council issued a desperate decree, a bounty, the highest in Dominion history. Any being who could capture a member of Earth's ghost team would be made royalty. But there were no names, no faces, no trails, and one by one, every bounty hunter sent after the black ship simply disappeared. Some were found floating, mouths frozen, open in a scream. Others were never found at all. But every corpse bore the same message. Etched into skin, you hunted the wrong ghosts. In the final hours of Episode 3, a new message appeared across Dominion space broadcast in every language. On every screen, it was not a threat, it was a promise. You killed a child. You don't get to run. You don't get to hide. You will understand fear. And beneath it, the same child's voice, soft, broken, pleading, "Please, don't let them take me too." Then the screen turned red, then black, then silence, again. It happened at 4 o'clock local time on Calvex Prime, the cultural heart of the Thalrex Dominion. A day of celebration was under Winnowable Day, a proud tradition, were parades in the sky, feasts in the palace squares, and highborn citizens drinking from golden flasks. Children of the Dominion danced in genetically perfected formations. Across 127 systems, the broadcast reached billions, and then it stopped. Midway through a royal speech, the screen flickered. A high-pitched buzz flooded every device. Then came the image. A little girl, human, in a cage. Her lips moved, and everyone, watching, heard her whisper clear, broken, terrified, "Please." They heard everyone. Then the screen went blood red dot cut to black dot then. The sky above Calvex Prime opened. At first, they thought it was an eclipse. The sky darkened as a black mass hovered silently above the capital. No engine trails, no heat signatures, no warning. Anti-aircraft batteries spun to life. Orbital command lit up. Shield protocols triggered. But nothing fired. Every defense system in the capital failed. One by one, a whisper flooded. "Dominion comes." You watched her die. Then, in complete silence, a pillar of white light descended from the black ship. It struck the Royal Archive Tower. There was no explosion. The entire tower disintegrated. Every record of Thalrex history gone in seconds. No fire, no smoke, just absence. Panic took hold. Crowds screamed and ran. Nobles teleported to bunkers. The Dominion's pride shattered not from battle, but from sheer helplessness. And above it all, the black ship floated like a silent god. Admiral Kurtharn slammed his fist against the wall of his war chamber. "Where are the fleet systems? Why haven't we fired?" "No system is responding, Admiral," a technician barked. "Even manual launch codes are failing." He turned to the screen showing Calvex Prime. The ship hadn't moved. It didn't need to. It was making a point. In a rural province outside the city, a young Thalrex engineer, Zeller, watched the horror unfold with his family. He remembered when the girl's video first aired. He had felt nothing, just another weak species screaming for help. But now was shaking. His daughter clutched his hand. "Daddy, is the black ship coming for us?" He didn't know how to answer. Back in orbit, the Revenant's crew monitored Calvex in silence. Commander Alira Frost stood at the central console. Arms crossed, face cold. A young technician whispered, "They're running. The nobles are abandoning the capital." Frost didn't blink. "They should." Another officer asked, "Are we going to strike again?" Frost turned. "Not today." She pressed a button. The citywide broadcast flickered back on. This time, it showed a list of names. Thousands, all children, all human, each one killed by the Dominion. Over the last century, and next to each name, the planet. Date method, the truth uncovered, raw. In full public view, the Dominion had kept it buried. Earth hadn't forgotten. The Thalrex. Citizens were stunned. Some wept, some rioted. Others turned off their screens in shame. Fear was no longer their weapon now. They were the ones feeling a deep, soul-crushing fear. Hours later, the Revenant disappeared again, leaving no trace behind. No damage to the city, no. Further deaths, just one building gone, one list shown, and a single word carved into the marble. Steps of the High Temple. Justice. The Galactic community reacted instantly. News networks buzzed nonstop. Alien ambassadors demanded answers. Some defended Earth's actions. Others feared them. On the neutral world of Dorati Ix, a news host trembled as he read the headline. The day feared changed direction, Calvex Prime visited by the human revenant. Public polls showed something shocking, even within Thalrex territory. Sympathy for the humans spiked not because of war, but because of that girl. Because of the list. Because of the silence that followed it. Admiral. Kurtharn met with the last remaining nobles in a war bunker miles below Calvex. "We can't keep pretending this is a rogue unit," he growled. "This is Earth. All of Earth. Their council hasn't stopped it." A noble snapped back. "Then we burn Earth to ash." "With what fleet?" Kurtharn shouted. "Every ship we send disappears." Silence. They all knew. This wasn't a war. They could win, not with ships, not with numbers. The humans were sending a message, not an army, and they'd already won the hearts of the galaxy. Back in her private quarters aboard the Revenant, Frost reviewed the next target, a training camp for child. Conscripts on our Alvacad-2, her face softened. Just slightly, she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small bracelet, worn pink, tiny beads strung together by hand. She held it gently. The name on it read, Mara, the girl from the cage. Frost had known her. She had failed her now. She was making sure no one else did. She closed her eyes, whispered something no one heard, then gave the order. Set course. That night. Across Dominion space. The fear that once ruled the stars changed direction. It no longer flowed from the Thalrex. It flowed toward them, from the silent places, from the shadows, from the ghosts of the wronged inn, the golden throne chamber of Thalvern Spire. The seat of absolute power, the most powerful being in the Dominion prepared to speak. High Chancellor Vekiel, ruler of 127 star systems, voice of the gods and conqueror of 4 sentient species, had never once bowed to another soul. He was the final word in Thalrex law. He wore a living cloak made from the skin of extinct royal beasts. His guards numbered in the thousands. His very voice could silence planets. And yet on this day, he trembled. He stood before a galactic broadcast beacon. Billions would hear his words. His message would span systems. He took a breath and began. To the leaders of Earth, to the ones you call wrath, to the ghosts you have unleashed suddenly. The lights dimmed. The feed stuttered. The entire throne room's gravity dropped. For 0.6 seconds, enough to panic even the most hardened guards. And then, without any recorded transport, a human appeared. No door opened, a shimmer of teleportation. Just there, a tall figure in matte black armor, face hidden behind a blank helmet, stood just 10 paces from the High Chancellor. Security screamed, weapons raised, but no one moved. The human raised no gun, said no words, just stood there. VKUL. Stared at the being who should not have been. Able to get in, his knees buckled. He fell, And for the first time in recorded history, the God Emperor of the Dominion begged. The broadcast cut before the galaxy saw Vecchio drop, but those in the room never forgot his voice. Once proud and commanding, cracked like thin glass. Please, we didn't know. We didn't order the child's death. We didn't. The human remained silent. The helmet tilted slightly, as if watching, judging, then dash. Gone, no. Flash, no sound. Just vanished. The room descended into chaos. Guards scanned every molecule of the chamber. Technicians ran diagnostics. No breaches, no entries, no exit trails. The Chancellor had been infiltrated in the most secure room in the galaxy by one human, and that human did nothing. No threats, no demands, just presence. That was worse. The immune tried to cover it up, but news leaked. Rumors spread like wildfire. The Chancellor begged. They got to him. They're inside. Civil unrest surged on 14 worlds. Protests on noble planets turned violent. Slave cities revolted. Even Thalrex officers began to ask the same question. How do you fight a war when your enemy never fires a shot? On Earth, the Terran Council met in a sealed chamber. Some wanted to call the Revenant back. They feared escalation. But Commander Frost sent a simple reply. If you make me stop now, I will resign. If you make us stop now, their blood is on your hands. The Council gave no answer, but they didn't stop her. Back aboard the Revenant, Frost sat in front of an ancient data pad. On the screen, a list of next targets. She paused on one name, VAKUL below. It coordinates, personal files, military logs, war crimes, and his speech draft. He was going to lie, blame a rogue noble, beg for peace, without truth. Frost read the lines again. He was going to act like the girl didn't matter, she said quietly. Another officer approached. And now, he knows. She did. A dusty moon orbiting a trade hub, an old human merchant watched the leaked footage on a rusted screen. He'd lost his daughter to the Dominion 30 years ago. He never found out where they took her. Now, he cried for the girl he never met and whispered, "Make them all feel it." Back on Thalrex Prime, Vecchio secluded himself in the lower sanctum. He refused to appear in public. Rumors said he had nightmares. Some claimed he saw the girl in mirrors. Others said he now wore a small bracelet made from Terran beads copied from a photo of Mara, the dead child, out of fear, out of guilt. No one knew. But the Chancellor, who once ruled through terror, now couldn't sleep. Elsewhere, the Dominion's fleet commanders were turning on each other. Why aren't we retaliating? What ships? Every system we send gets ripped apart and send assassins. 2 already tried. One was found inside the human embassy walls, cut into bone slivers. The other was returned, inside a clear box, alive and smiling. The Dominion had never feared humans until now, because these weren't the diplomats, not the politicians, not the peacemakers. These were the ghosts they thought didn't exist, the ones Earth promised it had buried. And then it happened. The Dominion's most secure shipyard, Yarnex Forge, was found completely empty. No workers, no ships, no guards, just a single human doll, sitting in the center of the hangar, holding a tiny sign. She was 7. The war wasn't declared. No battles were officially fought, but world after world began to surrender preemptively. Not to Earth, to the idea of Earth, to the memory of a crying girl, to the silence that followed her scream. High Chancellor Vakuli eventually stepped. In front of a private camera, alone, no crown, no cloak. He spoke not to Earth, but to his own people. She was 7, he said quietly. No excuses, no denial. She was 7, and we let it happen. The galaxy gasped. The Dominion fractured, because the day the God Emperor begged for mercy was the day his empire fell to its knees. The Thalrex called it Biovault, Epsilon Savannah, hidden research facility buried under the ice crust of Ralvec II, supply planet no one cared about. No trade, no tourism, just mining drones and frozen winds. But deep below, behind triple gene-locked doors and memory-wiped staff rotations, Thalrex science priests kept something they were never meant to touch. Human genetic samples. One sample glowed brighter than the rest in the cold blue racks. Labeled only with Terran code fragments and a child patient. ID, stolen, cataloged, weaponized. Designation, MARA 173A. Security. Logs showed the child died in custody, but her cells lived. Tonight, the Revenant came for them. No alarms triggered when the strike team phased through the outer hull. No cameras recorded them. Sensors looped harmless hallway footage. Even the heartbeat counters returned numbers that said. The station was empty. It wasn't. 8 humans moved in. Silent black armor. No. Insignia, Commander Alira Frost led them through the cryo hall. Frost stopped in front of Rack 12, Column 4. The vial pulsed faint pink. Mara. She whispered. She lifted it. Every light in the vault turned red. Across Thalrex space. 41 planetary control grids blinked at the same instant. Power-dipped shield. Rings collapsed. Navigation relays dissensed. Transport gates froze mid-fold and sheared into slag. And in 1,000 control rooms, Dominion tech officers stared at the same alert they had never seen before. Genesis checksum activated. The moment the humans touched Mara's DNA, half the Empire shut down. Roll intro. Ralvec 2 looked harmless from orbit gray ice plains, mining scars, weather towers rattling in the wind. That was the point. The Dominion hid its worst secrets in boring places. Biovault. Epsilon 7 was 11.2 kilometers below surface ice, shielded by rotating transgenic biolocks keyed to Thalrex immune signatures. Anyone without the right blood chemistry dissolved on entry. The Revenant team didn't bother with the locks. They tunneled through phases slip insertion, riding a ghost bandwidth slice between shield refresh cycles. The Thalrex never saw them. Inside, the vault smelled of antiseptic and cold metal. Stasis pods lined the walls. Some held tissue, some organs, others whole bodies, and partial freeze. Most were not Thalrex. Frost moved rack to rack, scanning. "We copy the manifest," whispered Lieutenant Ron over tight beam com. "Hundreds of off-world samples, mostly fringe species. Multiple human lineages. They've been harvesting us for decades." Frost clenched her jaw. Find her. Analyst Lynn keyed into a dead terminal, piggybacking a wearable drive through a ghost OS that mimicked Thalrex system handshakes. Partition shielded by sacrificial code, Lynn broke it. A child file opened. Video still. Mara. Same cage. It's timestamp. 3 days before broadcast. Beneath the still were clinical notes and clipped. Thalrex script. Subject viability high. Terran strain displays extreme trauma recovery. Neural scar dampening. Immune cascade memory carryover. Recommend. Integration into Project Genesis. Pain threshold regiments. They weren't just torturing her. They were studying why human children survive trauma, and trying to stitch that resilience into Thalrex shock troops. Frost stared at the log. She was a test. Lynn pulled deeper, more encrypted files, cross-links to older war archives. Hidden research began after the Dominion's defeat in a forgotten skirmish with early Terran Marines. The Thalrex wanted what humans had: emotional recovery under extreme stress, adaptive immune layering, and most important bond retaliation triggers. Human young imprint deeply. Threaten one child, and whole communities mobilize. The Thalrex called it tribe cascade behavior. They tried to bioengineer it. They failed, so they stole from refugees, from lab raids, from Smara. Something else hid in the data. Chenna checksum. That didn't belong. Old Terran code, military era. Marked obsolete, do not deploy. Lynn's eyes widened. Commander, this isn't just Mara's DNA. Someone piggybacked a dormant countermeasure string into the genome file. Military grade. Explain. If stolen and loaded into system-linked bioanalytics, the code sits quiet unless it detects external replication. When triggered, it pushes a recursive key out through medical sync networks. In plain words, if anyone tries to weaponize the sample across networked worlds, you can brick the network remotely by authenticating the child's chain of custody. Frost looked at the vial again. They used her as bait, she said softly. Or insurance. Insurance against what? Against monsters? Protocol. Required eyes-on genetic validation before removal.
Oh.
The vial auto-unlocked to Terran Bioauth. The moment the seal broke, Hidden Dominion auditing code believed its sample was being exported for distributed weapon trials. That ping raced up the research net. The dormant Terran checksum inside Mara's data woke up every Thalrex world running. Linked Gincombat sims accepted the ping as authenticated research traffic. Then the checksum flipped. Across 41 system-straining worlds, breeding forges, trauma labs, neuropain academies, the Genesis networks failed safe, power redash routed, lock sealed, weapon AI turned off, shield lattice cycled to maintenance, fleet yards stalled, civilian grids tied to military power bled dry. The Dominion thought humans had hacked them. They had actually hacked themselves by stealing the wrong child. On Zath Prime, a shipyard froze mid-launch. Half-built destroyers hung dead above the cradle. On Kelvaris, orbital defense cannons spun down as raider clans cheered. On Trell 4, child conscript barracks unlocked. Doors opened. Thousands ran to control. Towers tried overrides. Every console flashed. Genesis checksum. Failure. Network quarantine. Source. Terran child sample. MARA 173A. Admiral Cortharn slammed both fists into a console. Shut it down, we tried. Cut power. It regenerates from backup. Isolate worlds. It's cross-signed on medical. He froze. The Dominion wired its war machine through battlefield medicine. Faster healing. Faster troop turnover. Faster domination. So when they stole Mara's healing code, they tied their war engine to her name. Now she owned it, buried in his guarded sanctum. Vecchio received the red cascade alert sequence. Every strategic model collapsed. Fleet readiness dropped below 40%, Civil Order reports. Unstable on 23 worlds. Failed on 9, unknown on the rest. Vecchio turned to Dr. Editha, Dominion's chief biostrategist. What is Genesis doing? She swallowed. It's not Genesis, my lord. It's the child. He stared. Explain. She showed him the stolen research clip, the one where Mara cried in the cage, wires in her neck, immune reading spiking as she fought sedation. We mapped her stress-adaptive genome, Etot said. We seeded it across growth vats. We built reinforcement loops using Terran code extracted from war debris. That code contained a failsafe. If humans ever authenticated chain of custody, the failsafe could trigger, and he told no one. It never activated. We assumed it was inert. Activated today, yes. Because the humans touched the sample. They claimed her. The system thinks the rightful custodians reclaimed the child, so all unauthorized clones shut down. Vecchio sank back. They shut us down, he whispered, with one child. In Biovault Epsilon 7, alarms finally caught up, bulkheads sealed. Coolant, Pressure climbed. Autoclave melt cycle. Arm standard Dominion protocol. Destroy evidence. When external custody detected, cycle countdown. Lynn warned. For minutes, Frost turned to the racks. Not leaving the others. There's no time. She glanced at the manifest hundreds of cross-species samples. Evidence of illegal harvest programs stretching decades. We take the core, she ordered. Ripped the whole data spine. Ron slammed a portable singularity clamp onto the main trunk. Metals screamed as grav shears peeled the housing open. Frost pulled the main shard, still live, still streaming panic signals. Into dark Dominion space. Package sealed, Ron said. Exfil now. Phases slipped just as the vault bathed itself in sterilization plasma. Behind them, everything burned, except what they took. Minutes after extraction, burst transmission hit neutral relays, anonymized through old wartime. Dead nets, short, surgical, impossible to block. Hey, this is Commander Elira Frost of the Terran Revenant. We have recovered the stolen genetic remains of Marrow 173A. Human child seized, tortured, and killed under Thalrex custody. Dominion systems linked to her stolen code are now in safety quarantine. Release all other juvenile captives and transmit full medical logs within 48 standard hours. We will verify. We will return what belongs to the innocent. Or we will take it. End message. The galaxy froze. On pirate come bands. Cheering. On refugee worlds. Prayer bells. On former slave colonies. Riots of joy. Even within Thalrex space. Families. Hood lost children whispered gratitude to an enemy they'd been taught to hate, because the message didn't say vengeance first. It said return them, for millions that mattered. The high bunker filled with screams. Send nothing, one noble yelled. They'll use our data to strike. Others slammed back. They already struck. Look outside, Dr. Aita argued. For compliance. If we release the logs, we might reset Genesis. If we don't, they'll trip secondary failsafes. If we could lose atmosphere control on colony worlds. Admiral Kurtharn stared at the alert map. 41 systems red. 12 blinking yellow, 3 gone dark. He made the call. Transmit the child logs, he ordered. All of them. And pray they accept the surrender. Aboard the Revenant, Frost sat alone. In the dim med bay, a recovered vial spun slowly inside a containment field. Digital overlays reconstructed Mara's last 48 hours from the gene logs, stress spikes, neural pain suppression, immune overclocks. She fought longer than any adult. Would have Frost rested her forehead against the glass. I'm sorry. She slid a pink beaded bracelet beside the field. Your name will break empires. Hours passed. Dominion worlds staggered. Markets crashed. Pirate fleets raided unpowered orbital ports. Slave callers released on delay hack schedules. Some worlds erupted in civil war. Others simply stopped obeying, but not all the damage was blood. In schools across neutral space, teachers replayed the Terran message. Children watched. They learned 2 things. The Dominion hurt kids. Humans do not forgive that. Generations would remember at 25%. Runtime revealed that Mara's genome carried a hidden Terran checksum. Viewers realized the Dominion booby-trapped itself by stealing her. DNA. At 50% runtime, grid shutdown expands map. Animation of 41 worlds flashing offline. Stakes explode. At 70% runtime, Frost's broadcast goes public. 48-hour deadline. Will the Dominion comply? Then sting. Unknown reply packet enters Revenant come buffer tagged from Vehicle priority. Confession. Cut to black. Commander Elira Frost keeps Mara's bracelet. Quiet guilt fuels ruthless precision. Short, simple lines play well in VO. Analyst Lynn, tech translator for viewers, explains complex genetic warfare in basic English. They took her cells and wired them into their war machine. When we touched them, the machine broke. Admiral Kurtharn, proud, furious, increasingly desperate. Audience loves watching an arrogant power realize it's trapped by its own crimes. Dr. Aita, or a weak point inside the Dominion, knew the program was risky, now forced to admit it. Possible defector in EP7. High Chancellor Vecchio, still shaken from Episode 5 encounter, now realizes he may lose the Empire if he doesn't cooperate. Open. Cold open. Hook vault. Vial. Instant galaxy shutdown. Title card plus SFX sting. Section 1. What is Ralvec 2? Quick visual map. Section 2. Who was Mara? 10-second recap from EP1. Footage reused to reinforce emotional memory. Section 3. What is Project Genesis? Explain like story time. The Dominion wanted human toughness. So they stole human kids? Section 4. The trap checksum triggers network collapse. Show systems falling red. Section 5. Dominion panic and politics. Fast cut argument montage. Section 6. Frost's broadcast 48-hour deadline. Section 7. Fallout. Across the stars, prisons open. Fleet stuck. Civilians awake. In beat. Encrypted reply from Vecchio hits the Revenant. Frost opens it. Her eyes widen. Cut before we hear what he says. Encourage viewers to return for Episode 7. CTA suggestion for VO. If you were Frost, would you accept their data? What? Or erase them anyway? Tell me in the comments. Episode 7 drops next. They tried to apologize too late. Don't miss it. They thought they could steal a child and no one would know. Humans remember, and humans build failsafes. When the Revenant touched Mara's DNA, the Dominion's war code believed the rightful guardians had come, so it obeyed. It shut itself down. 41 worlds, power gone, weapons frozen, and a whole empire waiting for judgment. Use this in the mid-episode recap section for audience retention. Children are sacred. Cross that line. No stars will hide you. Fade to black. The broadcast came from Thalrex space. It was official. Formal surrender. The last High Noble. Lord Varnick of House Drazul stood on a blackened dais with trembling hands. Behind him, Dominion flags burned slowly. His voice cracked through the holofeed. We yield. The Dominion withdraws all claims over neutral worlds. We offer reparations. We beg forgiveness. We surrender. Billions across the galaxy sighed. In relief, but deep in a prison transport ship, human girl screamed. She was 14, not Mara. Not even related. But she had human DNA, and she was still in Thalrex. Custody. The surrender was a lie. The Dominion was still hunting children. While the galaxy celebrated peace, Commander Frost and the Revenant watched the surrender with silent eyes. They're lying, she said. Her second-in-command, Major Talon, frowned. We traced the signal. Surrender was real. Signed by Blood Code. Frost pulled up another screen. A single human distress. Pinged faint. Weak, but real. Coordinates. Outer Rim Penal Colony. Sector 44 Vex. The Dominion had just promised surrender, and still held human children off-grid. And worse. They tried to erase. The signal right after? Too late. Earth heard it, and Earth remembered Mara. The Revenant dropped from stealth near the penal colony. No announcement. No warning. They didn't send a fleet. They sent 3 operatives. Ghost Division. 2 walked the front gates calmly. 1 infiltrated from below. Cameras cut out. Drones short-dash circuited. Inside, Dominion guards laughed as they prepared. The girl for DNA cleansing, a slow, painful way to erase human genetics. They didn't finish. The lights blinked. Then the screams began. In the control room, Dominion officer barked into his comms. Who is inside? Identify. A voice came through. A human voice. Flat. Cold. Emotionless. You surrendered. And still, you hurt a child. Who is this? Silence. Then one word. Judgment. 14 minutes later, the colony was a crater. The girl was safe rescued. Sleeping under a soft gray coat, she would live. Every Dominion officer present is gone. Some were turned to ash, some disappeared, some were found locked inside cryopods labeled for trial. Galactic court, if they still breathe. One had a note, pinned to his chest. This one watched. News spread instantly across alien worlds. Billions who trusted the Dominion's surrender watched the footage in horror. The lie was exposed. The Dominion didn't stop. They only hid better. But Earth didn't forget, and the ghosts didn't forgive. Hi. Chancellor Vecchiel, hiding on a fortress moon, watched the report and said nothing. He'd surrendered in fear. But others in his empire still played games. They would soon learn. You don't pretend peace while hurting humans. The price is too high. Back on Earth. Commander Frost stood before the Terran Council again. A senator asked, "Why didn't you wait for confirmation before striking the penal colony?" She placed the girl's Medracord chip on the table. She had marks on her arms. Silence. She was in chains. That's confirmation enough. The council fell quiet. On neutral worlds. Alien leaders who once feared Earth now spoke with reverence. "They are monsters to monsters," said one Goran high priest. "They protect their children with fire," said a Delary queen. "No empire survives when a human child cries," said a traitor in the slums of Krather. The galaxy was waking up, not to Earth's dominance, but to its wrath. Lord Varniku made the fake surrender was later found in his palace, still alive, but stripped, shaved. A child's bracelet sewn into his skin, a note stuck to his tongue. "You lied, so we returned the lie." Is his entire house fell in one night. No survivors, no war, just emptiness. The message was now universal. No mercy for those who touch the children. You can kill soldiers. You can fight Earth's fleets. You can even burn human cities. But if you hurt a child, the ghosts don't stop. They erase you. The last Dominion world still flying its blood red. Flag was Veltar Prime, heavily fortified. Billions of soldiers. Elite command AI. Planetary. Shields layered 12 times. They said it was untouchable. They broadcast defiance hourly. "We are not afraid. Humans cannot touch Veltar." Then someone whispered the name Mara, and within 1 hour, Veltar Prime went dark. No explosions, no armies. Just a sound like a lullaby echoing through the skies, and a signal beamed into every mind. She was 7, you burned her. Now feel what she felt. And then came the screams Veltar. Prime was ready for war. Its surface cannons could break moons. Satellites could vaporize fleets. Its intelligence network claimed to predict every Terran move. They were confident until their AI. Defense system a self-learning construct deleted. Itself. No virus. No hack. Just a choice. Logs revealed its last action. Query. Who is Mara? Gives result found. Gives action. Shut down. The Dominion had ruled through fear for centuries, but now they feared one name. Ships refused to leave dock. Officers deserted. Children. On Veltar began drawing her name in ash. Mothers sang her name like a shield. Fathers whispered it like a prayer. And then the Revenant arrived. Commander Frost did not launch an attack. She simply opened comms to the entire planet. Her face appeared. Everywhere, in every device, screen, and neural implant, she said, "We will not conquer you. We will not destroy your people, but we will make you remember her." Behind her, a small hologram spun gently. Mara's toy, the last thing she held before they took her. Frost pressed a button. Veltar's entire power. Grid collapsed. But from sorrow, every major memory bank rewritten, every AI core overwritten. Each citizen's neural chip now stored one face. Mara's, the fall of Veltar. Prime wasn't called a battle, it was called a reckoning. Alien species from across the stars began changing their own laws. Slavery, banned human children, protected old alliances with the Dominion, erased overnight. No one wanted Earth's ghosts at their door, not after Tar, not after her name. On Mars Station, Commander Frost sat alone with a black box inside. The last audio clip of Mara. A soft, trembling voice. "Will I get to go home now?" Frost closed her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. "You're already there." Behind her, the Terran Council silently stood and watched. None spoke. None dared. Months passed. Earth never invaded. They never colonized. Dominion space? They didn't need to. The Dominion was going to not by force, but by shame. Empires began telling their children, not about kings or fleets, but about a little girl named Mara. And what happens when you hurt the innocent in Earth? Earth returned to the stars. But now, every time a human ship entered orbit, silence followed and peace held. Because now, the galaxy knew. They can build, they can destroy.
Yes.
But if you touch a child, they will break your stars. A new monument stood on a neutral moon. No flags. No weapons. No politics. Just a small metal statue of a child holding a stuffed toy, engraved in every known language. Mara, she was 7. We do not forget, we do not forgive, we do not lose children again. The camera pans up. A single Terran ship silently exits. Orbitite's hull marked not with numbers, but with one glowing word, GHOST. Fade to black.